On Two Wheels this week, Wayne and I check out the very latest in custom trikes. Jeff falls in love with MV Augusta's new F4, and Claire asks stunt rider Neil Porter exactly how to do a wheelie and a stoppie. There's more biker chat and another top tip.
Now, we've talked about the three-wheel motorcycle before, that is trikes, but not the old-fashioned horrible trikes which are really like peculiar cars with all sorts of bolt-on bits. Oh no, beautiful modern motorcycle trikes like this, where it's a normal beautiful bike up front and a strange thing bolted here at the back.
And that's exactly what's going on here. This started life in this case as a Suzuki Marauder, normal motorcycle, big thumping V-twin custom machine, great bike. And really, that's what it is at the front end still, because from the front wheel back as far as the seat, it's still your standard Marauder motorcycle, two-wheel motorcycle. No engineering changes, no physical changes to the front end. But really, from the seat backwards, well, things are quite different.
Different is one way of describing it. High-tech is how I'd describe it, because this is a beautiful piece of engineering and design. What they've done is they've got rid of the original swinging arm and they've gone and replaced it with a nice big subframe. On that then goes all the suspension system. We've got two shock absorbers laid down. In this case these are Beator shockers, but of course you can use any make you want. It's up to you, it depends on how much money you want to spend. This has also got donor axle units which are off a motor car, but again they engineer the one to suit you and your pocket. This means then that we've got a hub which is a drum brake on this particular one, supporting these wheels and tyres which are massive, 205 15-inch, belting and beautiful as well. Then we've got a torsion bar here. The whole thing together is driven in the same way as before, a chain drive, but if it's a shaft drive machine they will retain the shaft drive. That then ends up as all this fancy creation, but this bit is just the same as before, except obviously they've got to reroute the exhaust and they've gone and put this Highway Hawk accessory on here just for a bit of comfort.
But it's not just for comfort, that little pillion pad, it's actually to stop you falling off the back as well. And I have to say, if you've never ridden a trike, you really should try it. It's quite a different experience, totally different to a two-wheel machine. For one thing, it doesn't lean over going around the corners, which is a bit strange till you get used to it. It goes round corners very well, but totally different to a two-wheeler, of course. And it's quite a different experience depending on which seat you're sat in. If you're sat here and you're riding, you're in charge, it's not too bad. If you're on here, it's rather a strange sensation, especially if you've got someone like him sat in this seat. You see, the problem, not just with Wayne driving, but with three wheels in general, is that they're obviously much wider than two. A fact that you do have to keep reminding yourself of. You also have to resist the temptation to cut through the traffic as you might do on a normal motorcycle. And I personally couldn't get out of the habit of putting a foot down every time I stopped. With three wheels, there's just no need. But it's going around the corners where this thing really starts to get very interesting. The Marauder with its wide handlebars turns in somewhat easier than other trikes, but you just can't help wanting to lean over as you go round. That's not too bad on the front where you've actually got something to hang on to. But sitting in the pillion seat didn't exactly give me a great deal of confidence. I felt as though the thing wanted to spit me off at every corner. This Marauder certainly turned lots of heads, not least because of the rather fruity sounding exhausts. It's a very interesting machine to ride, and it can be very rewarding once you start to build up confidence and actually realise that it does handle quite well. Trikes are definitely an acquired taste, and to acquire this particular machine you'll need to part with just over £9,000. Not exactly a fortune for something that's totally different. Well, that looked like fun, didn't it? It was fun. It made me smile, it made us both smile, and it made everybody else smile. It turns heads. Everybody's interested in this. In fact, I'm fed up of having to explain all about it to the locals here in Cardiff. Everybody crowds around it wherever you park it, and they just want to know all about it.
It's not the trike these people are swarming round, of course, it's me. They've come to see me. Wherever I go, hordes and hordes of people. Famed. But the fact is, it does bring a giggle to you. It makes you smile, it makes you happy, because it is good fun. But I think it's decided lacking in some oomph. We need some more power. And I happen to know that the bloke who's created this has also created a Hayabusa version. Yes, big 1300, loads of power. And that's what I think we should have. Can't we go and find this bloke who's made this 1300?
Well, the Hayabusa's a very powerful machine, you see. And,
yeah.
Well, I mean, I've told you, it's scooters and three wheels.
Oh, no way, mate. Go, I can reach the... I don't have to reach the ground. My feet don't have to go on the floor.
50cc, you see, just
go
concerns
on.
me a
You're
bit.
just frightened on the back of me, aren't you? That's what it is.
Well, I don't... How do you enjoy your bike the most? Where do you get the best out of your bike? Is it going to work and back through the traffic? I doubt it. Maybe it's going down the country lanes on a Sunday afternoon, or perhaps it's scratching round the circuit on a track day.
Well, my favourite road, Alton Park. Do a track day at Alton Park, top place. Come out of Deerleap, feel yourself pushed into the seat through Deerleap, down the straight, Old Hall, right round Alton Park. It's a fantastic place. Coming over the top of the hill towards Druids, is it? Come over the hill, and, oh, it's fantastic round there. Really good, nailing it. So it's got to be Alton Park, I think.
Favourite day out, or my favourite weekend out, is Dutch TT at Aston. Superb place, superb people, great atmosphere, great place to go.
It's a good road over the Trafford Bowl, and you can go up to Devil's Bridge. There's plenty of atmosphere. Everybody's in good humour. You know, you can have a sandwich or whatever when you get there, and it's a good road.
My favourite place on a bike is definitely got to be North Wales, round Bettycoed and that. Because like the roads are just long, fast, swooping. Really feel really good on my bike. Doesn't seem many police about, or there haven't been over the last couple of months. No doubt there will be in the summer, but definitely North Wales got to be.
Probably the run up to Devil's Bridge. Brilliant roads, quiet. It's when you get there, there's a few police about, but you're not too bad until you get in there. You can open it up a bit and have a bit of fun. But that's got to be my favourite place at the minute, Devil's Bridge. I fancy Island Man, but I've not had a chance to get over there yet.
One of the best places I've been to, and it's the first time last year, was the TT, and I'll be going again from now on. I don't think the wife's too happy, but that's it.
Favourite bit of road I've done, it's got to be the mountain road at TT, because it's absolutely fantastic, no speed limits, police are very nice over there, very, very, very nice people, and they never ever pull you. Please take note. Other than that, just my regular road, which is Devil's Bridge Road, but the police again are getting a bit heavy on there, so you're having to ride very cautiously, which is a very good thing, it's very wise, which is what I'm all for. Very wise, sensible riding, you know, sticking to 17 to 70 and all that. That's about it, really. It's all my roads, it's all the ones I've done. North Wales is good, I've done North Wales.
Now, a thing of beauty is a joy forever. So said John Keats some 200 years ago. So how come he knew MV Augusta were going to make this, the F4S? Because beautiful it certainly is. Just look at those flowing sculpted lines. From the polyepisoidal stacked headlights encased in a slim and sylph-like fairing, to a voluptuous sculpted tank, to a tail unit neater than Madonna's rear end, to silencers that emerge like cathedral organ pipes, to star-shaped wheels that are so distinctly different. But that's just an aperitivo, as the Italians would say, because this bike is art on wheels. But listen, before I tell you the rest about the bike, you just listen to the ungodly noise coming from those cathedral pipes. And out on the road, that wonderful, soulful, but somehow legal wail stays with you, because this is a soul train of a bike. It's a bike that connects with your mind as much as your backside. But who cares when you've got this much charisma? Well, not me for one, but I'll tell you what, let me just take you on a tour through this art gallery of a bike. For a start, just look at this instrument panel in here. It's absolutely beautiful, beautifully designed. If I switch on, you can see the old digital display on the left for your speedo and the old rev counter recalibrating itself. Nothing particularly new there, but what is neat is the actual styling of this. See, it's actually a curved display there, and that is replicated on both the clutch master cylinder and the front brake one. Never seen that before. These were specially designed by Nissan for MV, so no ordinary humdrum round ones, actually designed purposely for the job. Same goes for the levers here. These levers are adjustable for span, like many others, but instead of the ordinary thumb wheel on the top there, this has got a little adjustable wheel in between the lever and the actual plunger. It's just a little design touch which is a bit different. Another thing that's a design touch is this, the choke. It's absolutely tiny, it's exquisite, but it does the job, and much better than the big clumsy thumb lever there, and you can reach that with a gloved hand, no problem. Just moving back a little bit from this top yoke with the old Italian flag on the top there and an F4 logo, you've got an HELEN steering damper. Nothing special you might think, but this one is different. It's actually got plungers either end. They're anchored to the frame, and it's the centre that moves, and that's actually anchored to the top yoke. See that? So you don't end anything with any clumsy stuck either side. While I'm here, I've got to mention these mirrors. Aesthetically pleasing, very nicely designed. But the only trouble is you don't see much of what's behind you. You've just got this tiny portion on the end here that you can see. If you're a posh spice and you've got thin arms, no trouble, but I can't see much at all. Something else with the mirrors that you can see, the indicators are actually set into the back of the mirrors, which is a really neat touch. And another good point, light from the back of the indicator actually shines around the outside of the mirror at night, so it's a good reminder that the indicators are left on, something you shouldn't do anyway. But you could also say about the mirrors, even though they're not very effective, who needs them anyway when you're on an F4? Everyone else is going to be looking at you, aren't they? It's a pretty bike, all right, but at 193 kilos, it's no super flyweight. It's 15 kilos up on a GSXR 750, but again, who cares? It's certainly not heavy, and it's the way it carries it that really counts, and here it's superb. The weight distribution is spot on. It's firmly planted and confidence-inspiring, but in a Ducati-like way, not like, say, an R1 or a ZX6. The suspension too is well sorted, and being multi-adjustable, it can cope with any combination of rider and circumstances. This on-the-road feel-good factor is down in part to the tubular trellis frame, a la Ducati, but as the whole bike was designed by 916 designer Massimo Tamburini, it's no surprise. Now the frame itself, that's bolted to these massive aluminium castings, which incidentally you can actually split the bike in two here, take these bolts off, wheel the back away and take the engine out if ever you needed to. But again, you can actually see the superb detail and this beautiful swinging arm here. Again, that word beautiful. Behind there is the Sachs single monoshock shock absorber, which is also adjustable for ride height. On this linkage you can just see behind there. But again, see the beautiful turning on all these frame points here. And look at this, the rear brake lever and the gear lever, they're both adjustable. Tiny little eccentric there, undo that Allen screw and just tilt that up and down to suit. It's absolutely beautiful. In fact, there's so much detail on this, it's pretty thirsty work, which is why I've got this water here and a chewy bar, because I'm going to have a little break, and I'll see you later.
Well, we'll leave Jeff to sit and admire the beautiful F4 and we'll join him again later. Also in part 2, Claire meets Neil Porter and he explains exactly how to do a wheelie and a stoppie.
Now where was I? Yeah, those back wheels. 5-pointed star design, and they're actually connected to a very lightweight rim. That's to lessen the gyroscopic effect, and so you get nice flickable handling. Under there you can also see that exhaust system, which is going to be a true trademark of the MV. Not just the black tailpipes, but under there big stainless steel expansion boxes which actually do the silencing. Now up front here, if I get up and have a little wander down, you can see these absolutely enormous front forks. These are 49mm stanchions. That's nearly 2 inches in old money. And see this, a massive spindle there. It's hollow, 32mm across, but what you do get is a very rigid front end and there's no twisting there. You can also see it's got these clamps on. This makes it quick release, so you can drop the wheel out quickly if you happen to be racing or doing endurance racing in your spare time. And look at these 6-pot calipers here. Nissan again, specially designed. And look at that, a little F4 on there. Fantastic. But let's get back to that engine. Ferrari had an input here, and it's got gear-driven cams and 4 valves per cylinder in a radial layout to give better gas flow. The Weber Minarelli fuel injection works a treat, and even though you have to work the motor to get the best from it, with these sounds, who's complaining? The gearbox is also interesting because just like GP racers, it's got a cassette gearbox, which means you can change internal ratios quickly by whipping out the whole gear cassette. And what a gearbox it is. Light and positive, clutchless changes are dead easy. Well, that's it. The tour's over, I'm afraid. Now, the F4 might not be the ultimate in sort of performance terms as far as sports bike goes, but it is absolutely exquisite, don't you think? Expensive? Well, if you're thinking of the gold version, or Oro version it was called, that was £26,000 and a limited edition. But this one, £12,900. Perhaps not as expensive as some bikes. But what it has got is charisma, and it's as pretty as a picture.
A lot of people out there fancy themselves as stunt people, but I bet you wish you could do a wheelie just as good as that, don't you? Neil, what is the secret in making it look so controlled and so good?
A lot of people ask the same question. They all come up to you and say, how do you wheelie?
Yeah.
The easiest way to answer them is don't use the power of it, use the grunt of the engine. A lot of people just rev them in first gear and just rev it out.
Screaming.
Yeah, what I seem to do is change gear early as possible.
It really was quite quick, wasn't it?
Yeah, the knack of it is to use the grunt. It's like I say, the grunt of the engine rather than the power of the engine. A lot of people just rev them and hope for the best, but if you get the front wheel as high as you can, it takes a lot of bottle to do it, but you get used to it, you get comfy with it. Get the wheel as high as you can, you don't have to use the power then, you just use the grunt of the engine.
And you're just always hovering over the back brake.
Yeah, keep your foot over the back brake all times, yeah. It can get you out of some sticky situations.
In case of emergency.
Yeah, if you need it.
How many hours of practice did you put in to be able to master something like that then?
How long does it take to get to corner shot, basically? I used to do it all over the place, basically. It just takes hours and hours and hours, really, to get it perfect. You know, and then once you've got it perfect, you're comfy, you can just do it any time you want then.
Yeah. You've obviously got the power with the 1200 like this to be able to do something like that.
Yeah, a lot of people do go for the Bandits. Other stunt riders go for different bikes these days. Yeah, there's a lot of, the favourite is the Bandit because they're cheap to buy, they're cheap to run, the engines are bulletproof. But people like Dave Coates uses an R1, Sonny Ferguson uses a Blade, Kevin Carmichael uses a GSXR 600, a GSXR 750. Craig Jones, he uses a Bandit the same as me now. Yeah. He's just gone to Honda actually, he's just using the new CB12.
I heard a rumour you used to do it on a Ducati, didn't you? Was that mad or what?
Yeah, I did, yeah. But it was just a standard Ducati, but I used to stand on the seat and do all sorts of stupid things on it, yeah.
Expensive mistake if you were.
It would have been, yeah. It would have been, yeah. It would have cost me a fortune, but yeah, it was all right.
Well, you make a stoppie look effortless as well.
Stoppies, yeah.
What's the secret behind those?
Secret for stoppies is, I would say, having a good front brake. That's the best part about having it.
How do you stop yourself skidding them when you come up to that?
You've got to have the tyre warm. You can't just jump on a bike and do it. If you do it, you're just going to lock the front wheel up straight away and you're on your side. Basically, get the tyre as warm as you can. Right. Just dab the front brake so many times, keep right up and down, get the tyre nice and sticky and warm. Basically, then as you're going into it, brake and just throw your weight forward. You'll feel the back end come in the air, and then you basically just hover it on the front. You pull the brake as hard as you can to get the back wheel up in the air, and as soon as it's up in the air, let off just a touch, and you just feel it travel. Yeah, that takes a bit of guts.
So easy.
It's not as easy as what everyone thinks like, but it's very impressive when people do it, because a lot of people can just pull up at a junction, do a bit of one, but to travel the bike along, it's a lot. You know, it's good when you can do it.
Absolutely. So a lot of skill involved there.
Well, yeah, that's a lot of practice to do a good stoppie.
Now, chain adjustment. I can't emphasise how important it is. It could be fatal if you get it wrong. On all bikes, you'll see a little sticker up there giving you the chain slack, or it'll be in your handbook. This one on the CBR6 says 30mm, and it's between sprockets, between the gearbox sprocket and the rear wheel sprocket. So it's important you pick the midpoint, which is round about there. Now see that one? That seems, well, not far off, about right. But what you can do, stick the engine into gear, into first gear, and you watch the difference. At the moment when I do that, the top run is moving a little bit. Push it backwards, which tightens up that one. See the increased slack there? That is more like a full 30mm. Now you need some clearance to allow the suspension to work properly, but you don't want too much. Now some sports bikes, the manual will actually say, test it when it's off its stand, or it's actually got the full load on the wheels. Did you see the way the chain got tighter then? And so see how that's tightened up. So it's important you know what you're checking, if the clearance is on a centre stand, paddock stand, or whether it's both wheels on the ground. Now as this has got the luxury of a centre stand, we're going to use the centre stand. And why not? And something I should have said before, spin the back wheel to find the tightest point of the chain, because sometimes the sprockets run out, or the chain itself, if it's an old one, has got a tight spot in, so get the tightest part. Get your ruler, or you can mark off, as I've done, a tyre pressure gauge, which I always carry with me on the bike. A couple of bands on there, giving me the clearance that I want, so you can just put that against the swing arm in the centre and just waddle it up and down and think, yes, I'm okay. Another little tip for you, if you're stuck on the side of the road, get a screwdriver, a decent sized one, and just put it under one of the sprockets there and the chain, and just move the back wheel like so. As long as the chain doesn't meet up with the sprocket the other side, that will give you automatically round about 30 mil. It's a good get you home tip, and it does ensure that the chain's not too tight. Assuming you want to adjust it, these are the adjusters, similar on most bikes. It's most important that you keep both adjusters the same length. So this is showing 3 divisions this side, 3 divisions the other. Screw them out by an equal amount as you screw them in to pull that wheel back. If you don't, you'll skew the tyre off to one side, and then your wheels will be out of line, and then you will be in trouble.
And on Two Wheels next week, we're back on a trike, and Wayne wins the argument and finally gets to pilot what could possibly be the most powerful trike in the world, a Suzuki Hayabusa.